welcome to another episode of Cosmic Conversations. I'm your hostess, Marla Martenson, and I've got a really juicy topic for you today. It's spirituality, intuition, how to grow it, how to put it into your business as an entrepreneur. My guest today is Brandaleen Johnson. She is an international online business and marketing strategist and spiritual advisor. She has 2 successful businesses, an online coaching practice and a spiritual development and guidance practice. Brandaleen provides her clients with the spiritual and strategic support needed for a growing business and a freaking amazing life. She's passionate about nature, spiritual awakening, and the law of attraction and making an impact on the world. She's coming from us from Traverse City, Michigan, and Brandaleen is on a mission to change this world one entrepreneur and awakening person at a time. And she's got a community of over 10,000 world changers. They follow her closely, and all her links are below so that you can join that community as well. And welcome, Brandaleen.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be on your show.
Thank you. Well, you're doing all this magical stuff, so tell us about your journey.
Awesome. I'd love to share about my journey because I was this normal human going through the motions, doing what everybody told me to do. I had a career in marketing and commercial real estate for over 15 years. And I ended up moving across the country from Las Vegas, Nevada to Traverse City, Michigan, where I live now. That was 7 years ago. And I went through a spiritual awakening that led me to becoming a psychic medium, developing into these gifts that I never really knew I had.
Wait, stop here. What was your spiritual awakening? What happened?
Well, so what happened is once we got here, everything was slowed down. I wasn't in this big city anymore. I was around nature. I started sensing things, felt like things were watching me in the woods. That's where I first really noticed some sensations in my body, like I'm not alone here. And then I was also practicing Reiki professionally, which I didn't do in Las Vegas, Nevada. And so that kind of, all of these things kind of added up to these senses. And then I saw an ad on Facebook about, hey, do you want to meet your spirit guides? And, I'd always been this woo-woo chick, sign me up, read my tarot cards, who's going to give me a reading or whatever. And so I thought that would be really cool. Well, all of this, coupled together, and then working with that medium to meet my spirit guides. And once I realized I wasn't crazy, I wasn't making it up, I was able to see behind doorways or see places that I've never seen before through various exercises. And then just bam, it was all there. This is why I get so passionate about teaching intuition and mediumship development and spiritual awakening, because everybody has the ability to do it. They just don't know how to approach it. They just didn't know they could. So you never tried to be a psychic, or never tried to talk to a
Or we think that people are born with it, or that's it. Otherwise, how can we get it going?
Exactly. We're ooh, it's this mystical lady that was, born with it.
Her grandmother was a gypsy tarot card reader or a witch or something. It's down the bloodline, right?
Exactly. And so when these things start happening to normal people, they think that they're crazy or they're having a mental illness. And that's where I come in now. That's why people like you found me on YouTube. And they're realizing, wow, I'm having these experiences, or they're searching.
Yes.
I'm hearing voices in my head, and they find my YouTube video, and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm not alone in this. And this lady, I could talk to her, and she is not going to turn me in to the medical community, So, so that happened. And then I started teaching right away after I learned, because I was like, this was my calling. This was my soul's mission, to be able to leave from corporate America and then be the psychic medium and have these wild and amazing gifts. Everybody needs to learn this, I thought, So I started doing that, teaching.
So where did you teach, right away? Where did you do it, online, or did you have some local shops that you went into and did classes, or?
I started online right away. Okay. Because I had just moved to Traverse City. I didn't know anybody. And so I really found comfort in having this online following where I could talk to people. Because, I mean, if you could see what I see right now, it's like I'm in the middle of nowhere and it's snowing like crazy.
Wow,
and
beautiful.
Like, it's beautiful, but you don't see too many people. So I started online, and eventually I did teach some local classes here and there, and sometimes I still do. Mm-hmm. But, you know, the power of this video that we're doing right now is going to reach thousands of people, whereas at the local store you might get 5 people coming in or 10 people, you know.
Yeah.
So it's really creating a bigger impact online.
Exactly. So, okay, so you started this. Now, are you married with kids, or what's your situation? Are you...
Yeah, so I have a husband that lives with me here. We've been together for like 18 years, so forever.
Yeah.
And I have a daughter that just had a baby, so I'm a brand new grandma.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, she still live in Vegas.
Uh-huh.
So
okay.
Yeah.
So you're there, and what did your husband think about this when you were a corporate lady and then went all woo-woo? Was he like, what's going on?
Oh, is that the best question of the hour? Yeah, he thought I really lost my mind. Our marriage really struggled there for a little bit.
I went through the exact same thing, so that's why I was asking you.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
We're
not the same person that they married. We're like something switched there, you know, that's like, wow. What?
Yeah, you know, and I actually have a podcast episode special about that because I feel like it's important. You know, like anybody that's watching this, you know, you're not alone. Look, you know, we both went through that, yes. and just keep shining your light and keep going through your awakening or your self-development, whatever it is. You're becoming someone new. Right. Your spouse, you have to be strong enough and love yourself enough to know that they're going to come with you or not. And if they're not going to come with you, then that's okay. You have to honor their right to have their human experience.
Yes.
Yeah, you do. And now it's funny because, you know, before he literally said, don't you dare let a dead person in this house. Oh. If I find out a dead person came into this house, it's over.
Okay.
And so it's hilarious because what are you going to do? Be like, well, sorry.
Right.
But now he'll say things like, you know, my spirits told me that I should do this, you know, or my spirit said, you know, he'll get his own downloads, his own guidance.
Okay, nice. So you start teaching, how long ago was this?
Oh, it's been probably about 6 years, 5.5, 6 years.
Because you really kind of exploded. So did you start immediately with a YouTube channel, or did you just make some online classes or one-on-ones, or how did you start?
You know, I love that question too because I literally started just talking to people on the phone. They found me on Facebook.
Okay.
I would talk to each client on the phone. So I'm like encouraging anybody out there that if there's something you want to teach, don't wait until it's perfect because it never will be. Now, of course, I have the website with all the bells and whistles and, you know, there's great audio, video training and everything, you know, everything's all pretty now. But yeah, back in the day, it was even sharing articles with my students saying, here's an article on how to ground down.
Okay.
You know?
That somebody else wrote. That you just shared.
That somebody else wrote that I was like, here, this is information that you need to know.
Right.
So, yeah, it started very archaic, and it always grows and changes, but yeah.
Right. So now you said that you were broke and weren't making money with your coaching. So were you doing regular coaching before that, or what happened?
I started coaching after I was psychic for a while. There's a couple reasons why. Number one, I was teaching these people how to become psychic, how to use their gifts, how to, you know, realizing that they're a healer, you know, being able to see inside somebody's body and tell them, hey, something's wrong with this over here, and, you know, getting information from spirit on maybe what they need to do to get back into alignment with their health. Mm-hmm. And these people were amazed at what the abilities that they could do, but they weren't doing anything with it afterwards. And I am the world changer. So I said, you guys got to have a business. You've got to create a business. So one of the reasons I started coaching was to help the people at least get to the point where I was in an online brand, you know. Mm-hmm. And then the other reason was because when people come to a psychic or a medium, generally our job is to help you get back in alignment, right?
Right.
To help you break through blocks, to help you find self-love. And a lot of times, you know, spirit will give us, hey, you need to do this, this, and this. But a lot of times the clients, they don't go through those motions to get the end result. And so that's when the coaching came.
Okay.
Where it's like, let's walk alongside you and get you to the goal.
Because a lot of people who will come to a psychic or intuitive, they kind of want to know the answer. So, for instance, I'm a matchmaker, and women will say, and I do, you know, I do some readings, and then I'll have people on my podcast or whatever, and we'll do live readings, and so they'll call and say, when do you see this person coming? And sometimes I've had even clients here in the house, because I do Reiki too, and they'd be like, I want to know when. And my guides are telling them, you need to work on this, this, and this first. And they're like, but I want to know when. And so I hear you when you say people don't want to do the work. They just want the answer. So you need to coach and understand that there's work to go with it.
Yes. Well, yeah, because if they're not, I mean, you know, as a matchmaker, and I have a crazy gift of being, because a clairvoyant, I could see their lover and what they look like.
Oh, wow,
crazy.
You can. Okay.
Yeah, I do lover.
One coming in. You mean like somebody coming in new for them, or you can?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So then they.
But
yeah.
A lot of times, like, you know, I mean, they're not gonna have that ultimate relationship, even if you could see the person and point them out to them, until they do the work inside. You have to be whole before you can have this really healthy relationship.
Exactly. That might just be somebody they're going to date, but it's not going to work out because they've got the same patterns that they're and blockages.
Right. Or I see them, and if things don't line up, you're going to miss it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because my thing is, when I see them, it's usually within 6 months. But I've had people that don't find that person. It's just like, you know, maybe something didn't happen, but yeah, just like you're saying, they have to do the work.
So you love helping entrepreneurs. So what's basically, is it people who want to be a spiritual entrepreneur, a spiritual counselor? What does that look like if somebody's going to do one of your courses? Are they going to learn about their business to do?
Yeah. So I do a lot of mindset work, I want to say.
Okay.
You know, obviously there's the back end of the website and all that. So I do a little bit of the back end stuff and the social media, but it's really about setting yourself up as a leader in your industry so that you become this online influencer, and then the people that need you, they're magnetized to you.
Right. Yes, that's a great point. You can't be just like putting out stuff without being aligned in the mindset and magnetizing. Yeah, that law of attraction, like you said, you know. That you love.
Amen to that.
Yeah. So tell us about some of your courses. I know you've got a mediumship course that you do live, and just tell us some of your offerings.
Yeah, so my signature program is called Awaken. Okay. Love that. That's the one that was born, 6 years ago, but it's grown and blossomed into the signature program called Awaken. And what that is, it's a 15-week group intensive online. There's all the content is back on my website, but we go through the beginning to the end. There's support in there, basically all the way from this is how you navigate the spiritual realm to how you communicate to here's your guides to the angelic realm. We even do animal communication in there. So you come out being able to do all the readings. You know, you learn how to psychically see, hear, feel, and know. And we cover mediumship in there. It's great. And then giving them the confidence to get their little butts out there and be the change.
Do you find that people really do? Because you think, okay, only certain people can do this. I mean, a lot of us have a calcified pineal gland, and that's why we can't see, or is it just not doing the exercises enough? Does everybody who goes through your course, are they able to start doing some of this, or what?
Yeah. Every single person.
Really? That's quite a claim, Brandaleen. That's exciting.
I swear. You know, not everyone does the past loved ones super well, and some people don't, connect with maybe the animals, but surprisingly
they get some gifts going.
Oh, they absolutely. I mean, we see behind closed doors. I have some techniques to help you see through time and space, remote viewing, helping you understand how to find missing people.
Wow.
That's a big thing.
That's a big thing. That's a big.
So yeah, you go through that process and you're able to see, hear, feel, and know. I mean, the way I describe how spirit, right? Spirit guides, angels, past loved ones. It's all a frequency. Everything's a frequency. So they're emitting this emotion, or that they're not. They don't stand there and move their lips and talk to you. They don't. They're like emitting this frequency. Some people are like, I met my spirit guide, but he's just standing there looking at me. He's not talking to me. Well, they don't move their lips.
Yeah.
So, but they're emitting this frequency, and so say you and me and 5 other people in the same room, we all pick up the frequency, but somebody's going to see a vision. Mm-hmm. Somebody else is going to hear some words or phrases that are popping in their head. Somebody else is going to have a feeling in their stomach that completely translates to this information. Some people are going to straight up just know it, and they have no idea how they know it. It's just inserted in their head.
Right.
And so we all receive this frequency, and that's why we develop each one of these. Somebody's going to be better at seeing.
Right. We have our clairs. We all have a strong point on one of them, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Like I've had, I remember one night, God, it was like a year ago, I was laying in bed, and all of a sudden I hear all these, like a group of people talking in my ear, like this, literally, and I freaked out, and I shook my head, like, and then I was like, damn, come back, I'm sorry. And then they didn't come back, because it freaked me out. It sounded like some low vibrational, but it was probably because there were so many people or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
So.
And we do address the whole pineal gland thing in there, but honestly, this is the way I describe it. You can have this calcified pineal gland. You're going to receive information. You're just going to receive, like, information where you had a slow internet connection. You know what I mean? Or it's a little bit foggy. Whereas if you have this sparkly, clean pineal gland, you're just going to be, like, rattling off the information.
Right. Which I guess most of us have a calcified pineal gland from all the fluoride and the chemicals and chlorine and stuff in the water, toothpaste and all that, which is like, trying to keep that all out. It's pretty much impossible. And tell us about your podcast.
Oh, my podcast. So my podcast is the Craving Consciousness Podcast. Wow. And you can find that on my website, Brandaleen.com. And then on the website, there's all the ways you can follow it, iTunes, your Android, all that. There's a way to follow that. I created that because I want to help people awaken to their gifts and align into the frequency of their dream life and business, right?
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so great that you found your mission, that you were really meant to do this, and people really gravitate towards you, and it's just phenomenal. So
this is my why, and to be able to sit here and go, I absolutely know my purpose. My heart is so full because people find me out of just the craziest ways. Right. And to know that these invisible people are like sending them to me. Yeah. And that's why I'm so passionate about teaching intuition and mediumship development, because when you develop into this, you're going to have this invisible team guiding you to your special purpose, and you're going to peel away the layers of all of this illusion stuff where you're supposed to go through point A, B, C, D, and you're going to be able to stand up and do what you came here to do. And it's that one thing that's in your stomach that you just keep dreaming about, and then your ego or your mom or society tells you not to.
Right. So for people who hate their jobs, who are just like stuck, I think this would be great to take some of your courses to get that intuition going, and your guides can help you get on your right path, because it's just, it makes me sad to think anybody's going to a job they hate and wasting all these years, because I was in the restaurant industry for 20 years, and I was acting and waitressing, and for all those years the waitressing, I'm like, this is not my purpose. I just want to get out of this. And I'd pray, and I'd leave notes in churches all over Europe, and I'd go to church on the way to my waitress job and sit in church and pray, God, please get me out of this job. And then I'd go to the job, and it did work. I mean, I got into the matchmaking, which has really been phenomenal for 17 years now, and healing and all this other stuff. But when you have that knowing, you're asking your guides for help. I was asking God, angels, help me. And it took me a while, but it was interesting because I didn't have any other training. So I didn't know what, but they brought me the matchmaking. I didn't even know that job existed, but the guides, the universe put that on my path and got me in there. And then I started writing books and all this other stuff. So you never know. Follow those crumbs, right? You want to follow those little hints. Like maybe I should try this, something new, even if it's scary.
Oh, and it will be scary.
Yeah.
Everything exists on the other side of fear, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because when you quit your corporate job, now was that when you left Vegas and then moved? You had to quit to move?
No, actually, I had to take a medical leave of absence because I was holding on to something that was no longer serving me for far too long.
Oh.
I was just like you, like, please save me. Get me out of this. And it was crazy because it was like the boss that I had for several years that I was like her right-hand person suddenly like turned on me, and it was really horrible. And I started having panic attacks and heart palpitations and insomnia. If you guys have any of that and you hate your job on top of that's your soul telling you run, don't walk, get out of there.
Right.
So I took a medical leave of absence and then moved across the country. And then when I got here, that's when I was like, well, I know I'm not going back to corporate America.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be working for myself. So I started doing Reiki professionally. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what got me into that. But then what happened was that my process from being the Reiki practitioner and because we were talking about how I was broke as a joke there for a while, being that Reiki practitioner, coming off of that corporate salary to nothing, you know what I mean? Yeah. But wanting to push against the everything, wanting to push against society, I ended up writing 2 books.
Okay.
Based on, one of them is Your Freaking Amazing Life, based on going through that process of the people pleasing and not having a real job and not being accepted by our parents, or society, and judging yourself. And then that whole law of attraction thing came in, and I just remember being so sad and depressed, going, I have all these spiritual gifts now. What? I'm like, you guys want me to be psychic, but you're gonna like make me suffer? Like I still at that point felt like life was happening to me, not for me. So yeah,
Reiki,
that whole
it's hard to get going a Reiki practice. I mean, especially when you go somewhere that you don't know anybody. So you were kind of struggling along with it. But I know the Reiki opens up the spiritual channels, because that's when I started getting all these energetic attunements, is when I could channel my angel. Things started opening up, and I'm still working on opening up more, but it did. I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. So those energetic attunements help with that. Yeah. Yeah,
the attunement, and actually just getting your hands on somebody and doing the Reiki.
Doing it.
Because you're there in their energy field for a certain period of time. You're quiet. You're here in the now moment, hopefully, right?
Right. You're not thinking about your grocery list while you're giving the Reiki. You got to stay in the moment. Yeah.
Right? And it's in those moments that spirit will sneak in, you probably know, between your thoughts that you're having, and then you start thinking about your client, and you start maybe imagining these things. Like, maybe my client needs to go on a cruise, and maybe she needs to walk her dog on the beach. And then after you're done, you describe everything to your client. She's like, I just got home from a cruise.
Right.
And yes, I have a dog that looks just like that.
Yes.
And so you start trusting these visions and feelings that you're having through your Reikis. I bet anybody that's a Reiki practitioner is experiencing something, and maybe they're just not speaking it out and getting the validation.
Yeah, it's important to speak it out, because you want to hear that validation, because they might need to hear it. I remember I do more distance Reiki than in person. People will, on my website, order some. And one woman I was working on, I felt like she had something with the throat chakra, maybe thyroid. It just popped into my mind. And I thought, okay, when I emailed her, I said, I got this. And she goes, yeah, I have hypothyroidism. And I was like, oh, wow, because I don't know why I just thought of that, but I thought I got to say it just in case. And because sometimes you can feel like, when you said, people will say, oh, I hear things in my head. Is it just your own brain making this stuff up, or is it really the messages? So you want that validation.
I call myself the validation police.
You do?
I tell people, like, there's one girl, I'm like, you're going to have twins in 2020. And I go, so remember my number, because...
Yes.
I want validation.
We got to hear that. Let us know. Come
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, and then the animal communication. Do you have pets? How does that, are you communicating?
Yeah. So, I think any of us that have pets and we really love them as our little fur children or whatever, you're doing it already.
Right.
You just don't know it. It's, I want to say animals and angels. If you have an angel, I want to say animals and angels communicate very similarly.
And animals have an angel too, don't they? Would you say that?
Everybody, yeah, we all have our team members, right?
Yeah, even the animals.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, somebody did a reading on one of my dogs before, and she was one of my students, and she was so spot on about how the dog eats, what the dog does after it eats, every movement my dog made. I said, God, you did so good on that. And she's just taking my class, right? Oh. And I go, how did you do so good? She goes, well, I did what you taught me. I invited her spirit guides and her angels and her loved ones.
Oh, my gosh.
And so I was like, well, I guess you're right. Because I always say, invite the whole everybody. If you're going to be giving a session, invite their team. Invite your team. The more people you have telling you in your head, she has thyroidism, tell her to do this to heal it, or read this book, or whatever.
Right.
The better you're going to be as that medium from spirit,
All right, beautiful. Well, Brandaleen, thank you so much for stopping by and chatting about all things spiritual and intuitive and all this magical stuff. I really appreciate it. You guys, all of her links are below for her books and her site and her classes. And let us know in the comments, are you awakening spiritually? What kind of gifts do you have? Are you looking for a teacher? I want to hear all about it. And much love, everybody. And until next time, bye. Bye, Brandaleen.
Bye.